The execution of Kenneth Smith, a new chapter in capital punishment? Imagine a world where the boundaries of justice blur, where the pursuit of retribution leads to uncharted territories. The execution of Kenneth Smith by nitrogen hypoxia has ignited a fierce debate, forcing us to confront the ethical and moral implications of capital punishment in the 21st century. On January 25, 2024, Kenneth Smith became the first person in the United States to be executed using nitrogen gas. This marked a grim milestone in the history of capital punishment. Witnesses described Smith's final moments as a struggle, marked by gasping and thrashing. The execution has sparked widespread condemnation and raised serious questions about the humanity of this method. Was this a step forward in humane executions, or a descent into cruel and unusual punishment? The answer remains elusive, shrouded in controversy. Kenneth Smith's journey to death row began with the 1988 murder of Elizabeth Sennett. He was one of 3 men hired to kill her by her husband, Charles Sennett Sr. The crime was brutal, and the motive was financial. Initially, the jury recommended a life sentence for Smith. However, the judge overrode this decision, imposing the death penalty. This judicial override, now prohibited in Alabama, highlights the complexities and potential injustices within the legal system. Before the nitrogen hypoxia execution, Smith endured a failed lethal injection attempt in November 2022. Executioners struggled to find a suitable vein, causing him significant pain and distress. This harrowing experience led to a settlement between Smith and the state, agreeing to the use of nitrogen hypoxia. This decision, while seemingly offering an alternative, opened a Pandora's box of ethical and legal challenges. Was Smith truly given a choice, or was he simply exchanging one form of potential torture for another? The debate continues to rage. Smith's legal team fought tirelessly to block the execution, ultimately petitioning the Supreme Court. However, the court denied the request in a 6-3 vote, paving the way for the unprecedented execution. Justice Sotomayor, in her dissent, poignantly labeled Smith a guinea pig. This dissenting voice underscores the deep divisions within the legal system regarding the use of untested execution methods. The Supreme Court's decision has far-reaching implications, potentially setting a precedent for other states to adopt similar practices. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, has vehemently condemned the execution of Kenneth Smith. Yasmin Cater, on behalf of the ACLU, described the method as potentially torturous and a violation of international treaties. The ACLU characterized the execution as horrific, reckless, and untested. The ACLU's stance reflects a broader concern within the human rights community about the evolving landscape of capital punishment. The organization continues to advocate for the abolition of the death penalty in the United States. The murder of Elizabeth Sennett was a calculated act of violence. Charles Sennett Sr. orchestrated the crime, hiring Billy Gray Williams to carry out the act. Williams then recruited Smith and John Forrest Parker to assist him. The trio staged the scene to appear as a home invasion, attempting to conceal the true nature of the crime. However, investigators quickly uncovered the truth, leading to the arrest and conviction of all 3 men. Charles Sennett Sr. committed suicide after being questioned by investigators. Smith's legal journey was marked by reversals and setbacks. His initial conviction and death sentence in 1989 were vacated on appeal in 1992. A second trial resulted in a jury recommendation of a life sentence, which the judge then overrode, imposing the death penalty in 1996. The sentencing of Parker and Williams further complicates the narrative. The exhaustion of all appeals by November 2022 sealed Smith's fate, setting the stage for the controversial execution. The initial execution was scheduled for November 17, 2022. An email notification was sent to Smith's lawyers while a stay was pending, highlighting the chaotic nature of the process. The 11th Circuit initially stayed the execution, but the Supreme Court subsequently lifted the stay. The botched attempt to insert IV lines caused Smith immense pain and distress. After multiple unsuccessful attempts, the execution was called off. Governor Ivey ordered a review of Alabama's execution process in response to the incident. A second death warrant was issued for January 25, 2024, this time specifying nitrogen hypoxia as the method of execution. A federal judge ruled that the execution could proceed. The Supreme Court refused to hear Smith's appeal and grant a stay. Concerns from rights groups and the UN about the untested method were largely ignored. Smith's final appeal was rejected by the Supreme Court. Chuck Sennett, the victim's son, stated the need for Smith to pay for his crime. Governor Ivey denied clemency. Smith's last meal and final visit from family were somber moments. His final words before the execution were a testament to his resilience. The administration of nitrogen gas began at 7:57 p.m. Witness accounts described Smith's consciousness and violent thrashing. The pronouncement of death came at 8:25 p.m. The execution marked the end of a long and arduous legal battle, but it also ignited a new chapter in the debate over capital punishment. Alabama Corrections Commissioner explained Smith's movements as involuntary. The state attorney general claimed nitrogen gas as an effective and humane method. Governor Ivey stated that justice had been served. Michael Sennett, the victim's other son, expressed that justice had been served for his mother and offered forgiveness. These statements reflect the diverse perspectives surrounding the execution. While some view it as a necessary act of justice, others see it as a cruel and unusual punishment. An autopsy was conducted by the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences. The findings revealed negative pressure pulmonary edema and fluid in the lungs. Expert analysis of the autopsy results has raised concerns about the potential for suffering during the execution. Arguments have been made for sedation prior to nitrogen hypoxia execution to minimize potential pain and distress. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has condemned the execution, further highlighting the international concern. The execution of Kenneth Smith has opened the door for other states to consider nitrogen gas executions. The execution of Alan Eugene Miller by nitrogen gas is scheduled for September 2024. The executions of Carrie Dale Grayson and Demetrius Terrence Frazier by nitrogen hypoxia are scheduled for November 2024 and February 2025, respectively. These subsequent executions will undoubtedly fuel the ongoing debate about the ethics and humanity of capital punishment. The future of capital punishment in the United States remains uncertain. The execution of Kenneth Smith by nitrogen hypoxia is a stark reminder of the complexities and moral dilemmas surrounding capital punishment. It is crucial that we engage in informed discussions, demand transparency, and advocate for a justice system that prioritizes human rights and dignity. We urge you to research the death penalty in your state, contact your elected officials to voice your concerns, and support organizations working to reform the criminal justice system. Only through collective action can we ensure a more just and humane future for all.